Oh, how I love thy law, it is my meditation all the day, all the night, morning through night. And I delight in the law of the Lord, and on his law I meditate day and night. Morning Meditations with C.J. Marshall.
Good morning. If you ever seen a movie with a most wanted criminal as the main character, you may have heard the phrase, he is a dead man. And what they mean by that is they have warrants out for his arrest. Sometimes he literally has the death penalty and is a dead man. Did you know that you and I are dead? We've been crucified. Notice what Paul says today in Galatians 2, verse 20. He writes, I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. In the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. Paul says here that his life has ended. He has been crucified with Christ. How has this happened? Well, he writes this in Romans 6. Or do you not know that as many of us as were baptized into Christ Jesus were baptized into his death? They were, therefore we were buried with him through baptism into death, that just as Christ was raised from the dead by the glory of the Father, even so we also should walk in newness of life. See, friends, if you're a Christian, you have been buried with Christ in baptism. You've been crucified. That practically means then that our old self has died. Our old passions, our old sinful desires, his desires become our desires. We take on the fruit of the Spirit and the attitude. Look at what Paul writes to the Colossians. In Colossians 3 and 2, set your mind on things above, not on things on earth. For you died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. We are now living a new life. We have our mind changed. We set our mind on things above. We should be transformed, as Romans 12, 1 and 2 says. Our thoughts need to be aligned with Christ. We are new creatures. We have died. Let's go back to the text. Notice what else Paul says here. It is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. I'm not in control. Christ is changing me, Paul says. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by faith. I'm walking by faith. Those who have been crucified, those who have died with Christ, have crucified their passions and desires, as Galatians 5 says that we're going to get to in a couple of weeks. But we've been crucified with Christ, and that should change us totally. look at the last verse to finish up this chapter. I do not set aside the grace of God, for if righteousness comes to the law, then Christ died in vain. Paul died. Paul died to his desires, his wants. He is becoming a new creature. He is a new creature. And he says, look, it's not by law keeping we get righteousness. If it is, then Christ died in vain. Let Christ live in you this morning. Let Christ reign in your life. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Morning Meditation. May we always be like the psalmist that says, oh, how I love your law. It is my meditation of the day. I'll see you next time. God bless.
Morning meditations, oh how I love thy law, it is my meditation all the day, all the night, morning through night. And I delight in the law of the Lord, and on his law I meditate day and night.